Hello, friends. Welcome to the live session on Glamguru today here with us. And today we are going to talk about something really special. This is the first time when Glamguru is going live, and we are about to start with something new for you. You must be following a lot of pageant forums, pages, websites, blogs, talking about the kind of pageant industry is happening, the winners every year, current COVID-19 pandemic situation. But what else you will find on Glamguru? Well, I will be here discussing a lot of important topics related to the pageant world, and I would like to bring every week someone really special from the industry who have seen the pageant world from behind the scenes, who have worked closely, with the experts, with the organization, and have continuously worked out to make pageantry better and to make it worth watching. And today we are here to talk more about analyzing the 20 years of Miss India. As you know that 2019 Miss India has almost completed 20 years. We are today going to analyze from the year 2000 to 2019 how India has performed in last 20 years, and what could have been done, the critique, the analysis, and what was majorly lacking as far as India is concerned. But the question is, who we have today to discuss all of these questions and how we are going to do it. Well, today we have with ourselves someone really special. Let me introduce you to Nishant Shashi Kumar. He is the co-owner and the director of Alphion Advertising Agency. He has worked with leading brands of the country in India and associated with Missology, a very renowned platform for the pageant world since 2010. And he's also a pageant correspondent for some of the leading national pageant in the country and a pageant analyst. Nishant is here with us. Hi, Nishant. How are you?
Hi. Very, very good. Was excited for this session. Is finally starting. Yes.
Yes, of course. And that's what we really wanted our viewers to connect with, because there are many forums who give information, but at the same time, we want to discuss and we want to interview some good people. And why not to start with you, someone who has been, following this industry for more than 15 years. So, Nishan, my first question, which I would like to address, what is your first take on India's last 20 years at Miss World, Miss Universe, and Miss International as the three major platforms? Overall, your view about India's 20 years, past 2 decades.
I think if I had to analyze the 20 years of India's performance in these pageants, I think we have somewhere gone a little slow in our process, in the sense that we have come down gradually. Like we were at a pinnacle in the 90s. We were doing very well even in early 2000s. But there was a time where we didn't know exactly what to do. The pageant world was in question mark as to what happened to India's performance. All of a sudden, like what happened in the mid 2000s that India's performance gradually decreased. But eventually, as in when the leadership changed, India's performance has gradually even taken a front seat. Like, for example, you have Manushi Chilla's performance in 2017. And then the immediate next year, you had Meenakshi Chaudhary being the first runner-up at Miss Grand International. Not only that, irrespective of the result, the performances have been well appreciated in the international platforms. So that is something I see the 20 years taking a major graph from top, coming down to bottom, and then now suddenly rising up.
So what we do, Nishant, we will discuss one by one. We'll take the first 5 years, then we'll go into the next 5 years, the third quarter, and then of course the last quarter of the 20s. So let's start with 2000 to 2004. 2000 was a remarkable year for India. Lara winning Miss Universe, Priyanka winning Miss World, Dia winning Miss Asia Pacific, but then it started to decline. We have had Selena, she was the top 5 at Miss Universe. Sarah couldn't make it to the Miss World. In
Yeah.
2002, Neha made it to the top 10.
Hmm.
Shruti managed to top 20 at Miss World. 2003, we had Amivashi top 5,
Five.
coming back in the game but missing the crown. But as
Yes.
far as India is concerned at Miss Universe, Nikita Anand failed to place at Miss Universe. But in
Hmm.
2004, we again had Tanushri placing in the top 10 Miss Universe
Yeah.
and Sayali Bhagat, who eventually represented India after Lakshmi Pandit was dethroned in
Yeah.
2004. So, what
That's
do you
right.
think, this analyzing the 5 years, what was the major highlights and how would you see India's performance? Do you think it was like the one of the best 5 years for Miss India for the last 2 decades, or what was more required? What would you think about India's 5 years, first 5 years? Yeah.
Well, actually, you have given me a nostalgic moment because now I was actually thinking over it. You took the names
Yes.
all over again, and I was actually thinking, I was imagining the stage, the girls, the Miss Universe stage, the Miss World stage, and
Yes.
Lakshmi Pandit and Sayali Bhagat taking over her
Yes.
position. So it really gave me a nostalgic moment. But I would
Yes.
want to emphasize on, like, since we're discussing it phase
Yes.
wise between
2005.
2000 to 2005, I would see
Yes.
this
Yes.
phase as a phase that was a little confused. I think this
Yeah.
phase was a little confused because what happened is, in we've had back to back victories. We've had performances wherein we had top five with Selena Jaitley. Then
Yes.
there was a confused stage. There was a stage where we as a country didn't know whether we need to send someone who's
But
super
Nishant, I would like to
intelligent.
ask you, do you think India has already got enough from 97 Miss World, 99 Miss World,
Hmm.
2000 back-to-back victories?
Hmm.
So it was expected that this 5 years is gonna be not gonna be as victorious for India as it was
Hmm.
in the from 97 to 2000.
The thing is that we were somewhere trying to match up to that period.
Yeah,
Continuous streak of winning was one thing, and
yeah,
the bar was set very, very high. So somewhere,
yes,
in order to match that bar, we were somewhere a little confused. Should we send a girl who's super intelligent, or should we send
yeah,
someone who's super stunning, or someone who has
hmm,
a bang on body? Then we were in a
yeah,
phase where we thought, oh, it's okay not to send someone with super bodies. We can send someone who can crack the interview, someone who can talk, who has an overall good personalities. That's also attributed to the fact that we have had better placement with such kind of girls as well. So
yes,
that was a little bit confused state, but 2000 to
yes.
2005, as per me, I found it a little confused state. But then eventually we started, as and when the results came out, as and when the
Yes.
placements, we realized that this is not the formula that's working. It's not working anymore.
Yeah.
That's when we started changing our strategies, and that's also a period, if you note, that is also a period where things changed. They were not like how it was in 2000. Now the
So
strategy
Nishant,
of the
yeah,
organization
yeah.
itself changed.
Yeah. So if you have to sum it up, how would you rate first 5 years out of 10 from 2000, to 2000 to 2004 out of 10? What is your marking
I
overall
would rate
performance?
it low. I would rate it six.
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 Okay.
I have
So
not
now,
found it. Yeah.
okay, let's talk about the next decade, next 5 years. That was 2005 to
Hmm.
2009. So starting with Amrita Thapar winning Miss India Universe, very surprising winner. Failed to
Hmm.
place at Miss Universe. At the same time, we have Sindhura Gadde continue the streak of semi-final at Miss World. Then 2006, Natasha Suri bringing another semi-final spot in from the Asia Pacific at Miss World, and luckily Neha Kapoor made it to the
Yeah.
top 20. Then 2007, the turning point when
Yeah.
India decided to give an extra edge to Miss World, crowning the main winner as Miss India World and the second place as Miss India Universe. As you know, Sara going to Miss World and Pooja Gupta making a top 10, one of the best placement for India at Miss Universe. Sara
Hmm.
failed to place, but 2009 again was not very good. Yes, Pooja managed to get beauty with a purpose for the first time. Pooja Chopra, I'm talking about at Miss
Yeah.
World, but Nisa Chaudhary failed to place at Miss Universe. So this was the overall picture for Miss World and Miss Universe. What is your take? Where India was lacking, where the organization was lacking? Do you think the girls were worthy enough? And what kind of more, you know, um, uh, maybe you can grooming, or what kind of more exposure was required as far as the grooming of these contestants is concerned?
I think the period between 2005 to 2010, we started picking up. Now is the time when we realized what works and what doesn't work. Although for some pageants, we were still in a debacle. We didn't know what to do because there was a little bit of confusion in 2007, 2008, and
Right.
2009. 2007 changed it completely, like you rightly said. The
Yes.
overall position in itself changed. First became second, second became first. Although we called it something that is at equal stance, but yet
Yes.
it was changed. Something that was carried out for so many years
But I would
changed
like to
in 1 year.
interrupt you here, and I would like to ask you, do you think it was the right move from the Miss India organization to take the call of making Miss India World as a first title and compromising on the legacy? And I would like to tell our viewers that Miss Universe was the first franchise which Femina Miss India took long back, and Miss World came to the
Came
camp later on. But the
later
kind
on.
of performance India had, they decided to put Miss World first. Was that an intelligent move, and what strategy would you do you think was in the minds of the directors those years?
I think that if I'm not wrong, that was also the year where Binibining Filipinas also changed their position. They started
Hmm.
sending the main winner to Miss World, and the
Hmm.
runner-up went to Miss Universe.
Hmm.
So most of the countries changed it in 2007. With India specifically, this move came in a little as a shocker because something that you do for so many years and then you change it kind of takes it kind of makes you a little different in terms of your approach to understand. So
Yes.
if I'm a viewer and I'm looking at the contest and I see suddenly, okay, but the main winner is supposed to go to Miss Universe, what happened suddenly this year? So that again puts a question mark in my head. Also, the overall picture, Miss Universe representative, who is actually the winner, stands next to the main winner, which is an unusual sight. I think we've discussed this in the
Yeah.
past as well. It seemed a little bit unjust. It seemed a little
But do
bit
you
unjust.
think it was required by the organization, considering the fact that India had by then five Miss World, and the kind of maybe they are looking for a victory at Miss World? Was India a Miss World market? What do you think was must have been an approach, and did it play in their favor? Did it play well or not?
Well, I think that I don't know exactly how what would be in the strategy of Femina Miss India, but I think that if you are a country that has five Miss Worlds, and you
Yeah.
are a country that uh, the population understands Miss World like this. The moment you talk Miss
Yeah.
World, the moment you talk
Yes.
Diana Hayden, everybody knows
Yes.
Miss World. The moment you say Yukta Mukherjee, the tall woman who won Miss World. So Miss World
Yes.
is in every individual's when they talk. It's just there. So if we understanding the market, understanding how
Yeah.
the dynamics of the organization works, if that's a smart move, then I think that's a correct decision. But I was only talking about how it looked for the general public. For the general public, there was a question mark as to what really happened this year. Suddenly,
Yes.
why such a change? But I think if the overall market, the country taken into consideration, how people understand the franchisee, if that's in place, then I think it's a superb move by them.
Absolutely, and I think that's the reason there was a kind of unacceptance from the fan side, as
Yeah.
well as in the general awareness, because we have seen Lara winning winning Miss India Universe crown, then Sushmita. There has been a lot of stories in media circuit. Sushmita ne Aishwarya ko haraya,
Yeah.
how it happened, all those scoops. But
Yeah.
suddenly, when there
I
was a
still read
news,
those.
when yes, when it started coming up that now Miss India World is going
Yeah.
to be the main winner, so,
Hmm.
definitely it created a star. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the third quarter. But before that, your rating out of 10, how would you rate 2005 to 2009?
2005 to 2009, I will definitely give it an 8 because you had a superb year, which is 2006. We had Neha, we had Natasha performing superbly well. Of course, we had Miss India, Miss Earth Air.
Yes.
Miss Earth Air, right?
Mr.
Then again in
Amruta as
2000,
well as Pooja Chitgopekar, right?
yeah, so the Miss Earth Air back to back, and even in Natasha's performance was exceptional. People were thinking she'll win. Neha
Of
Kapoor,
course, of course. Yes.
yeah. So I think 2007 as well, a super performance by Pooja Gupta. So I think that year, that phase was a very lucky phase for us. Although there were a little bit of positional change,
Yes,
a
yes, yes.
franchisee loss,
Yes.
then that franchisee loss happened in this phase. So, but overall, the performance and everything, I think this is that phase was one
And
of
of
the
course,
best phase.
yeah, and there has been some mixed reaction also. We have some of our followers, coming in, and they are commenting. I could
Hmm.
see they're talking about Sayali's, finale gown at Miss World.
Yeah,
You can also see, they are saying that Shruti's styling was not
uh,
good.
yeah,
Karthik
yeah.
is saying that. You can also see Vivek is there, and
Vivek,
we
yeah.
also would like to thank all of our followers who is here. Anantu, we would like to thank you. Please come join us, and if you want to ask anything and want to suggest something, we definitely look forward to it. Now, talking about the third quarter, very important turning point, Nishan, because for
Hmm.
the first time ever in India, nobody
Yeah.
ever imagined that Miss Universe can no longer be with Miss India. And for the first time, we had a separate pageant for Miss Universe. I am She Miss Universe India, organized by none other than first Miss Universe, Sushmita Sen,
Sushmita,
Tantra
yeah.
Entertainment Private Limited, 2010, 11, and 12. India failed miserably at Miss Universe. No placement for India. And as far as 2000, if you talk about the Miss World, there also I can't say it was a very exciting year. 2010, Manasvi Mamagai failed to place even after topping the leaderboard of a leading pageant fan or platform those years. Kanishta Dhankar again failed. 30 number, I think ranked 30, 26, ranked 26 in the leaderboard.
Yeah,
2012,
yeah.
Vanya luckily saved us, top 7 at Miss World. 2013, Navneet Kaur top 20 but making multimedia, and if we talk about 2014, that was finally a relief when Noyanita Lodh again placed after Shilpa Singh in 2012. 13 again we got Mansi Moghe making the top 10 placement, and I think the India's last top 10 at Miss Universe. So far we have not seen a top 10 still, and yes, Noyanita again continuing top 15. How would
Yeah.
you see what my question again is more than how would you see is about, do you think I am she could have done better, and what is your take on I am she taking Miss Universe franchise, dealing with it, and was it justified at the end of Miss Universe brand?
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say that again, I've got a little bit nostalgic.
Of course, and
2000
that's
and
what we want our viewers to remember those days and think what went wrong and what could have been done.
Yeah, so
Yes,
2010 was a year where I was very excited because the franchisee was now with Shushmita Sen. And this is
yes,
something that we had never ever witnessed. And like I said, I felt a little unjust that Miss Universe winner had to stand next to Miss World winner, and something that was
yes,
usually not the case. There's never been this case. So I was a little happy that, now they're getting a stance where they can have their own pageant of their own. The winner will go to Miss Universe, and it's not the
yes,
first runner-up or someone who's equally as good as the winner, but she's a sole winner of that pageant. So I was a little happy, but then eventually, as and when things turned up, I realized that there was actually no match. I would, coming from an advertising background, I would
yes,
like to mention that IMShe was one of the brands that had super branding. Their logo, the name, the way they mentioned Miss Universe pageant, IMShe,
yes,
specific with its design, the
yes.
year, what pageant it is, the sponsors, everything, the way they advertise themselves as well, even into social media platforms, one of the best that I have seen. So I was very happy for that, although back then I was very young to understand all of this. But now that I look back at IMC, I think they had done exceptionally well. But the only thing was the conduct of the pageant. The result did not turn out to be useful for the country, in the sense that of course every winner is worthy. We had
Yes.
I would not undermine that, but the results didn't turn out to be the way the expectation of the country was. Now,
But my
it's
question, Nishant, here is, which is, exactly contradictory.
mm,
Okay, we can take a call that she was a new brand. It took time for them to
yeah,
understand what Miss
yeah,
Universe were looking for. Sushmita tried her best. Ushoshi Sen Gupta didn't place. Vasuki Sunkavalli didn't place.
yeah,
And of course, Shilpa Singh at the end, saving some grace for she. But my question is, what about Femina Miss India? They solely were concentrating on Miss World, main winner going to Miss World, runner
mm,
up going to Miss Earth.
mm,
Fortunately, we have had our first Miss Earth winner, Nicole
yeah,
Faria, winning it. Nicole Faria was a top contender for the Miss World title.
yeah,
She also said in one of the interviews she would like to go for Miss World.
yeah,
But what about the Miss World then? Miss India tried their best, but the
mm,
kind of result, if you see, except Vanya Mishra making the
mm,
top seven, and Navneet,
mm,
yes, was a semi-finalist, and Koel coming top 10, even after being a top contender back to Roland Strauss. But
mm.
overall, Miss World doesn't seem to be happy with the Miss India organization, or what was not accurate initially.
I think that phase was a phase wherein we lost the Femina Miss India lost the Miss Universe franchisee, or rather gave it up. I wouldn't comment on that. But that was a phase when now the pageant winner went to Miss World, and the pageant was with Kanishta placing 26th and Manaswi Mamagai not placing at all. There was a question mark in there was a lot of pressure by the organization that we're no
Yes,
longer doing well in Miss World. So what's the formula for Miss World? What is it?
yes,
I really don't know what the formula is. All of this changed in 2012 with Vanya Mishra winning. uh, uh,
yes,
she was never a favorite of the pageant fans. She was never a favorite of any. Every pageant fan had their list. I still remember
yes.
a few names: Erica Fernandez. People had Shamata Anchan. People had Rochelle. But no one ever mentioned Vanya Mishra. No one ever mentioned Prachi Mishra. So things now started to fall in place. And if you notice, when things fell in place, even the results were falling as per desired. That's when eventually the whole game changed, and it changed for good.
But my final question before moving to the last 5 years is that, do you think if we talk about the other pageants, if I talk about Miss Earth, yes, we had first Miss Earth, but Miss Earth started to ignoring India
Yeah,
completely.
yeah,
Till
yeah,
now, no placement at Miss Earth. We got our first Miss Supranational, Asha Bhatt, very surprise winner. We also know, we would like to tell our viewers that Asha Bhatt also went to audition for Femina Miss India in 2014, but she was out in the last round of auditions. She couldn't make it, but she came back for Diva. She made it to the Diva. She was again out of the Diva. She got eliminated, but came back as a wild card by Lara Datta and eventually winning the second runner-up. And at the last call, she was sent to Miss Supranational, and guess what? She won Miss Supranational, with nobody was expecting. So if we
yeah.
talk about the other pageants, also Miss International, highly ignored. Only Rochelle Rao could make it to the top 15 at Miss International. But if you talk about the other kind of pageants, Grand International has built, we have new pageant, Grand International in 2013. So if you talk about the other pageants, do you think India started to get recognition in that era?
In when you talk about supranational, so I always look at it as someone's gain, someone's loss is someone's gain. So
Yeah,
that position was eventually taken by someone else, and Nicole was second in the pageant of Femina Miss India. She Her idol pageant would have ideally been either Miss World or Miss Universe. If it's the old
yeah,
system, it would have been Miss World. If it was the new system that they changed after 2007, she would have gone to Miss Universe. So it is Miss Earth gauged from that exchange of franchisee. So Miss Earth
yes,
benefited from that. Same like you mentioned, Asha Bhatt. She It was Miss Diva's second position. So Miss
third
Supranational,
position, second
yeah, back
runner.
then it was the third position, and it eventually moved on. They actually graduated to the second position. So
Yeah,
it's someone's loss in position as someone's taken the lead, and Miss Supranational being a new pageant. It was a territory that we had not explored. So that was somewhere where we laid our foundations. We laid our foundations in Miss Supranational very, very well.
Okay, so Nishant, I would like to take some questions now. We have one question coming in, and you can see it's there on the
I
screen.
can see.
Kritika, yes, Kritika, she's asking, why is India not winning from the past so many years? I don't. I think she's asking about the top pageant, maybe Miss Universe, because Miss World we have had.
Yeah.
What do you think? Why India is not winning?
Well, what do you think? Why is Indian? I will also give you my views, but what do you?
See,
Because
I
it's
think the
subjective.
kind
Yeah.
of approach, yes, of course. I would say that the kind of approach the current Miss India organization is having is absolutely, refreshing, is very promising. The kind of changes the format has, we have seen in the format 2017, recently they've started the state format. We'll talk about it later. But I think what is missing is the strive and determination and to play it strategically. That is very important as far as the pageant market is concerned. We have had very good talent but got wasted or missed by whiskers just because of lack of strategy. For example, I think there was a lot of expectations in the year. If I talk about 2014 itself, I think Alankrita Sai would have easily won Miss Supranational or Grand International suited for that kind of pageant, but she was sent to Miss Earth. What happened? We couldn't get anything, and she was unplaced there. Asha Bhatt, a very raw and very genuine Indian beauty. Yes, she did won Miss Supranational, but could have been utilized for first Miss International crown. That could have been India's in India's kitty if Asha would have gone there. And some more decisions like that. So I would say that it is more about not being more strategical enough, and also as far as preparation is concerned, specifically for Miss Universe. I remember once Sabira Merchant, one of the famous, she's a groom, she is a famous personality development trainer, and she's worked with Femina Miss India. And she said once in an interview that, to be a Miss Universe or Miss World, you need to be extraordinarily beautiful. I'm not saying the winners we
Yeah.
have had were not beautiful, they were absolutely, but the kind of X factor is required. If someone comes into your room and you are blown away by her beauty, not the exterior, but the interior, and the kind of personality she has, that's what I think needs to be considered. Same way again, Meenakshi Chaudhary, we have had such a gem. She came for Diva, but couldn't make it. She went to Miss Grand, but again an injustice as well as Kajal Sagat says. So I think it's about playing more strategically and to make sure that the right person goes at the right place. What do you have to say about it?
I would completely agree to all the points that you mentioned, especially with what you mentioned about Sabira Merchant mentioning about, how when a girl walks into the room, she has to enlighten the room. Everything else falls later, but that comes first. But
Yes.
one point that I would really like to stress on is I think back in 90s and early 2000s, pageants were considered very, very seriously in our country because there is also one. The best example is Shushmita Sen winning the
Yes.
pageant. Even though Aishwarya Rai was someone who was well acclaimed in the beauty circuit, she was already doing so many projects, and people knew there were girls who even withdrew because they didn't want to
Yes.
compete in a year where Aishwarya was competing. So, yet the scores mattered, and Shushmita scored the highest. So back
Yes.
then, there was a lot of transparency, there was a lot of competitiveness. Pageants were taken very, very seriously, not only by the organization, but I'm talking in terms of contestants. Contestants
Yes.
took it quite seriously. It was a platform that was very, very tough to crack, and
Yes.
there were very few things that the girls were passionate about, and I think pageants was one of them. Fortunately or unfortunately, today in this the digital era where we have so much to do, we can literally do anything. Pageants are, I feel, they're not taken that seriously by the contestants anymore, and where the others have taken a leap, we have not taken a leap that much as countries like
Yes.
Colombia or as countries like Venezuela or
Yes.
Philippines. We have not stretched our boundaries that much. I think once we start
Yes, of
doing
course,
that,
of course.
we will get
Yes,
on
and
track.
we are running short of time because we need to cover important
Yeah, yeah, sure.
important last quarter of the decade.
Yeah, yeah.
So before going to that, what's your rating for 2010 to 2014?
2010 to 2014 is a mixed period. If Miss Universe is taken aside, Just Femina Miss India, with Miss World, Miss Earth, the franchises with with Femina Miss India. I would rate it a good 8.5. But if Miss Universe is included in it, then I would rate it really low. I would rate it as 7, because
Okay.
that performance has definitely come down.
Okay. Now let's talk about a very important era. That is 2015 to 2019, the last quarter of the
Yeah.
last 2 decades. Started with 2015. Let me have a quick review about that. Very depressing year for India, Nishant. India not placing at Miss Universe with high hopes from Urvashi Rautela. She was, I think, in everybody's mind, very popular. I still remember her introduction at the Miss Universe. She has the most Instagram followers. You must have remembered the whole thing in the background. But what? I mean, I think it was a disappointment. I don't know why. Again, at Miss World, Aditi Arya failed to place even in the semi or quarterfinalists. 2016, again, India unplaced at Miss Universe. At Miss World, Priya Darshini, yes, top 20, a saving grace. Talking about 2017, a glorious year for India. We got a sixth Miss World, Manushi Chira. Kudos to her and to the organization. But again, Miss Universe, Shraddha Shashidhar couldn't make it to the top 16 at Miss Universe.
Hmm.
2018, again, placed not good for India at Miss Universe. We were expecting Nehal to place. She was leading everywhere, but a surprise and placement. Talking about Miss World 2018, Anukriti was, yes, indeed, made it to the top 30, but it was kind of expected. And 2019 again, if I talk, yes, we got a very good placement because we got, Suman as second runner-up at Miss World, but Miss Universe again, for the last time, we have had a semi-finalist, Vartika Singh, finally placing. What's your review about it in short? And also, who is your favorite Miss India of this last 5 years, except Manushi Chilla?
Okay. Firstly, I like to give a shout out to everybody like Rajat,
Yes,
Ritika,
yes, yes.
Karthik, Vivek. Vivek has been constantly typing. He's just like, when will they respond to us? So,
Yes, yes.
yeah, a lot of other names as well. I just can't, I won't
Yes,
be
yes,
able to
yes.
scroll
I will.
through.
Yes, I quickly thank Anantu. Kritika is there.
Ananto
Vivek
as
is
well,
there.
yes.
Rajat is there. Rajat, thank you so much for
Rajat as well.
joining. Definitely, we gonna take your question. Ritika, thank you so much for asking that question. We'll quickly take a look at it at the end. And Vivek is also there. All of you, thank you so much for your support. Yes, Nishan, go ahead.
So for me, I think I really liked this phase, even though it might have given a lot of non-placements and a lot of trials and errors have been done in this phase. But I really
Yes,
liked this phase because this phase we implemented a lot of changes. The changes that we only spoke about in the past was something that were put in place. Like Manushi's year, we had the state concept.
yes,
2018, we had one of the brilliant productions for Miss Diva. We had
yes,
also one of the brilliant productions for Miss India. We had the program live for the very first time in Miss Diva. We had the contest live in the stadium. Hello. Yeah, we had the contest live in the stadium for the very first time. The tickets were on sale, so I really
yes.
liked this phase. A little bit of I think we were stuck with Miss Diva. That's the only place I think where we were stuck, because that was again, it's again a new organization. That
Yes, yes,
Miss
yes.
Diva was a little confused with what Miss Universe really needs.
Yeah, my question is that only, why Miss Diva? Do you think Miss Diva, the brand and the kind of awareness has been created? We have had enough awareness about Miss Universe India, or there is some more thing required? What is your take on Miss Diva as a brand or as a title for India at Miss
I
Universe?
Yeah, I think that Miss Diva is not being considered, though it has been handled by the same organization. This is what I personally feel. Is if I'm a contestant and if I have two options, if I have Miss Diva and if I have Femina Miss India, I'll always consider Femina Miss India. Firstly, because Femina Miss India is a well acclaimed pageant. I know that Miss Diva is handled by the same organization, but I'd
Yes,
rather give it a first try to Femina Miss India, then come back to Miss Diva. Unless I'm a die-hard pageant fan. I've been following pageants. I've been a fan for a while. I know that if I have to go to Miss Universe, I have to only and only apply to Miss Diva.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so that's a little bit of the pageant being considered as a second best. Also, I think I've discussed with you many
Yes,
times.
of course. We have discussed many times. Yes.
Miss India is a title that
Yes.
I will celebrate for the rest of my life. But
Yes.
how will Miss Diva as a title be celebrated? There is
Yes.
absolutely nothing of pride in holding Diva. It's
Do
not
you
got
think that
that
Miss
nice
India
name.
should consider coming back to either Miss India Universe or Miss Universe India, or making it more relevant nationally?
Yes, if it is relevant nationally, only then I think people will start taking it seriously. Even if it's a independently held contest, it should have something that's got to do with the nation. There is
Yes.
absolutely no mention of the nation. Miss Diva is it has no India in it. It once we had Miss Diva Universe. It has universe, but it doesn't have India mentioned in it. So it
Of course, and
lacks.
that's I think that's a call needs to be taken by the organization. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you said, that it is indeed a point where the organization should now consider, after seeing the 8 years of Miss Diva and the kind of placement and the kind of performance or the brand recognition we have had. It's call of the organization. I think we will have to keep on that. Now, finally, we are just quickly going to the questions. We have to wrap it up. But before that, I would like your rating for the last 5 years. What is your final rating for
Final
these years?
rating, I think one of my best, so it has to be 9.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
one of
nine
my
is
best.
for the last decade, and I think this is the best time that we have got
Yeah,
Miss Supranational again. We got a Miss World again,
yeah.
and we have at least got back to Miss Universe with kind of disappointment from 2015.
And my
Let's quickly.
favorite Miss India is
Yes.
Meenakshi.
Yes, and
Meenakshi sir.
Meenakshi, and hopefully we are getting to know something. We'll not talk about it right now, but we can see Meenakshi and would like to see Meenakshi coming back to the pageantry once again. Let's look some quick questions. Anant is asking, what is our opinion about bringing back all major franchises under FMI? Well, I'll quickly answer it, Nishant. I think
Yeah,
it's the best time, and I think it is very much required. And we have been discussing right now, Anantu, that Miss India as a brand has been very popular all over the world, and if all these franchises, now we have only have Universe, World, Grand, and Supra with Femina Miss India, and if all four of them are coming together, it's gonna make our organization to pick, choose, strategize, and at the same time, make sure that the right girl is going in the right direction, and that's a very good decision if organization thinks about it. One thing needs to be considered about the fact that giving equal amount of recognition to Miss World and Miss Universe. So I would recommend having quadro, like four winners,
yeah.
two
We've
main winners,
discussed
Miss
this.
Universe, Miss India Universe, and Miss India World, and two runners up, first for Miss India Supra and Miss India Grand. That would be, I think, a great thing to do. But again, it's up to the organization. Let's do the second question, and this is what we can say. Here's Ritika asking, why is it important that FMI take Miss International? Nishant, you should answer this.
I think Miss International is a pageant which has performed in India. We have not really performed well. So we've discussed this many times. Me and Abhishek have discussed it many times.
Yes,
We need a pageant that doesn't have a market in India. Indian
yes,
market understands Miss International because whenever Miss International happens, there are news of Miss International in local
coverage. Yes,
newspapers. So
yes.
the coverage is there. It's a new market, and what better can it be to to have a franchisee that the audiences understand, and
And
at
they've
the same
also had
time enter
relevant
it for the
winners
very
also,
first
Nishant.
time.
I think
Yeah,
I can any day see Sana Dua going to Miss International and
yeah,
getting a decent placement. Shobita Dulipala, she was such a striking beauty from South India, and I think she was highly ignored at Miss Earth. Had she have gone to Miss International, I think would have been a different game altogether. And of
yeah,
course, Meenakshi Chaudhary, she's such a gem, could have got us first Miss International, and many other pageant, many other names were also there. But yes, again, it is very unfortunate that it is not with FMI. We really hope, and also the existing Glamanand organization, they are also doing good. No offense to anyone, but I think it's the kind of exposure and the kind of level which really needs to match up as far as the pageant is concerned. Now
yeah.
let's quickly take some of our questions before we are going out of the time. Karthik is asking, what's your thought on Zozibini Tunzi and Tony and Singh? Well, I think, Karthik, I will answer it. I think it's the right time because it's a kind of strategy which I think the Miss World organization and the Miss Universe organization both were playing, and that's why Zozibini, I think has changed the perspective for a girl to be a Miss Universe, and I think that also needs to be celebrated. And at the same time, Tony Hansing was not much recognized initially, but the kind of performance she delivered and the kind of personality she has, I think that was an edge over Miss France and also over Suman, and that's the reason I think she was a Miss World for the year 2019. Talking about someone other question, Vivek is asking, back in 90s, everybody knew who Miss India winner were, even before going to any international pageant.
Yeah,
What do you think about is missing now? I think we've already discussed,
yeah,
Nishant. It
we
is the kind of
discussed. His
exposure
question had
and
come
the
that time
relevance and
itself.
the
Yeah.
kind of yes, and the importance. We are not saying that it is a extraordinary thing, but to celebrate our winners as a natural ambassadors and to make sure that they get what they deserve is, I think, that's the reason that ignorance is there. Then one important question by Ritika, you should answer. I think, should FMI take Miss Earth?
Not for the moment, at least. uh,
Yes.
Let them see how they let the new franchise see. I don't see any point taking franchises just for the sake of taking franchises. I think for the
Yes.
moment they should just concentrate on Miss Grand International, Miss Supranational, Universe, and World. And as and when they see a need to acquire a new franchise, they should go ahead with Earth. But
Of
for the
course.
time being, I don't think so. They should go ahead with it.
Let's, yes, of course. Quickly, to sorry, Nishan, we'll take one more question. Karthik is asking, can we expect Meenakshi to be back from his diva? Well, Karthik, there is a lot of discussion, there is a lot of talk, there is a lot of threat about Meenakshi coming back. She has just graduated. I think she's about to graduate, finish her course. But it remains to be seen. We cannot confirm anything, but yes, we can give you a lead that there is something happening, and we were very optimistic that something good will happen soon.
I
We'll also
want to.
tag, I think, yeah, you have to say something about it.
I'm saying that we all expect it, and I want it. Like we really want that to happen. But let's see how things go.
Yes.
Really don't know how things shape up for her personally as well. We need to look from that point of view as well.
Of course. One more question. Ms. Sunita Mishra is asking when we will get next Miss Universe. Well, we really hope we get her
As
very
soon as
soon. But I
possible.
think the kind of approach Miss Diva is having is good enough. We really hope that Adeline would will definitely continue the streak. But 2021, I think these 3 years are going to be very important. We saw 2012 we placed with Shilpa Singh.
Yeah.
We continuously got two more placement by Noyanita and Meenakshi and Mansi
Yeah.
Moge. So 2020 and 2021 both are going to be very important. And the kind of strategy Miss India is having, I think very soon we'll have a Miss Universe back to India. What do you say, Nishant?
I
Quickly.
think it's so we're just climbing the ladders. I think we're just midway, and we need to achieve a few more miles to go there. I think once we achieve that, the streak will continue, and we will start getting the crown back to our country. It's
Yes, and
just a
I
leap to
think we have
leap
some.
advancement.
Yes. And we have some suggestion, I think, or some recommendation by Vivek. She's saying that Srinidhi was asked by MI to come for MI. She could have given us our first MI. Well, of course, Vivek, she could have, and
Yeah,
there are many girls which could have, and there is always a would have, but we are talking about what went and how it happened. And I think to summarize it all, we can surely say that 2020 these 20 years were very great, and I think we have learned so far, and we are on the right track. It's just about the right time and the right approach, and India is very near to get a Miss Universe or a Miss World once again. And before we finally wrap this show today, Nishant, your final word. What do you think about 2020 and how it's going to be for India at the international pageant?
2020, I'm a little bit not very sure as to how things will go, because there are chances, like we don't know how the contest will be held, how the girls
Yeah.
would prepare themselves in a situation like this. If there is actually going to be a grooming session, or it will be an online session for the girls who are preparing. So
Yes.
we don't really know how the outcome would be, but I think that it might pick up the next year, that is 2021. And
Yes.
I think we will then we've eventually really done well in the last few years. I think that streak should continue for the next few
Of
years.
course, and as far as 2020 is concerned, it's going to be very important. We
Yeah.
like to tell our viewers that we are going to come up with some more interesting topic. We are going to talk about 2020 Miss India and more topics. And keep following our page, Glam Guru. We are going to have some really other experts and as well as followers like you and all of us who have joined us right now on this chat. Thank you so much, Nishan, for joining me on Glam Guru
Thank you so
today.
much for having me here. Thank
Yes,
you so
and I
much.
really
It was
appreciate
really
you give
a good session.
you have given your time and the kind of discussion we had. I really look forward to it, and you have always been a supporter and
Thank
a
you so
friend
much.
to be on the
Thank you.
show.
It was
And
really interesting. This is something that really interests me, and having this conversation with you always, even on the phone,
yeah,
it's like it's really interesting with
thank you
you.
so
Yeah.
much. Same here. More power to you. So that's all today. That's all for today, friends. We will come back to you once again. Thank you so much for joining in. And I would really would like to tell all of you to please like, share, and follow the channel. You are definitely gonna get a lot of content. Yes, there has been a lot of delay and lot of not much of an excitement on the page, but we are gonna make sure that you get a lot of things. A lot of scoops are also there. Just give us this time and keep following our page, Glamguru, at facebook.com/glamguruu. We'll keep coming back to you with a lot of updates and information and interesting topics and interview only on Glamguru. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Bye bye.